RHOSLC Truth Behind Mary Cosby's Church and Cult Scandal. What is the truth behind RHOSLC star Mary Cosby's church and alleged cult scandal? There have been many stories that have come up about it, but what is the clear and true story? More so, what part did Mary play in it? Keep reading for further details. Truth behind Mary Cosby's church and cult scandal. Mary Cosby has played a controversial role on RHOSLC as she is married to her step-grandfather, Robert Cosby. This may seem strange to outsiders, but she claims it was part of her grandmother's will, therefore she could not argue. They have a son, Robert Jr., who has struggled with addiction, but Mary was right by his side, ready to love and support him no matter what. She did get demoted to a friend role for Season 4, but was back in a full-time capacity for Season 5. Fans have adored her since day one as she holds nothing back and always sets people straight. However, her church has come under fire, but what part, if any, did she play in it? Mary is the First Lady of the Faith Temple Pentecostal Church. Yet, according to Mio, she just filed a lawsuit against her financial experts. Annie L. Johnson and Sean Turner handled all of the money for her and her husband when it came to the church. So what is the lawsuit for? She has accused them of forgery and are being sued for $6.3 million. Additionally, Annie and Sean took church funds for their own use, including credit card bills. Aside from that, Mary Cosby has been accused of running a cult via the Faith Temple Pentecostal Church. It was her mother who made these accusations against Mary. She took time off from RHOSLC due to these allegations and other instances. Furthermore, the church was supposedly closed because of the claims, however, they maintained it was because of the pandemic. The website says, when services resume, and then lists prayer times. Yet nothing is updated as of now. Fans have spoken out about all of this when it first happened. Mary was not innocent. RHOSLC spoke out when the cult situation first came up, and they did not feel that Mary Cosby was necessarily innocent in all of it. They also pointed out that it was not in Mary's grandmother's will for her to marry Robert. There are also a lot of questions about why Mary and her mother were estranged. Mary's mom did not want to marry Robert, but she did want the church, so that was an issue. When The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, RHOSLC, premiered in 2020, it brought a fresh twist to Bravo's franchise. Known for its snow-capped backdrops and Mormon subtext, RHOSLC quickly gained notoriety for its cast of dramatic, eccentric, and highly amenable women. But no housewife raised more eyebrows or more questions than Mary Cosby, the soft-spoken pastor with a penchant for designer labels, surreal one-liners, and a jaw-dropping backstory involving an arranged marriage to her step-grandfather. Beyond the luxury fashion, oddball confessions, and eyebrow-raising sermons, Mary's storyline veered from quirky to controversial. The center of the storm? Her church, the Faith Temple Pentecostal Church, and persistent allegations that she was running it as a cult. The Church of Mary. Mary Cosby inherited her ministry after the passing of her grandmother, Dr. Rosemary "Mama" Redmond Cosby, a prominent Pentecostal preacher and founder of the Faith Temple Church. According to Mary, her grandmother's dying wish was that she marry Robert Cosby Sr., her step-grandfather and Mama's second husband, to maintain leadership over the church and its finances. While this familial arrangement shocked viewers, Mary has consistently insisted it was ordained by God and a fulfillment of her grandmother's vision. The church, which is primarily based in Salt Lake City, once boasted a large congregation, many of whom regarded the Cosbys as spiritual royalty. But rumors swirled, both in whispers and online forums, suggesting that what appeared to be a religious dynasty may have operated under a darker doctrine. Cult allegations. What sparked the fire? Viewers first started questioning the church when Mary made unsettling statements on RHOSLC, often referencing divine status and boasting about her lavish lifestyle as a sign of blessing. She didn't shy away from flaunting her designer wardrobe or equating wealth with righteousness, a theological stance that raised flags among traditional Christians and critics alike. Then came former congregation members who spoke publicly, anonymously and on the record, claiming Mary ran the church through fear, guilt, and financial manipulation. These ex-members alleged that Mary positioned herself as a spiritual deity, implying that questioning her was tantamount to questioning God. Some accused her of using tithes and offerings to fund her extravagant lifestyle, custom couture, luxury cars, and multiple homes, rather than for charitable or ecclesiastical purposes. One ex-member went so far as to say, "If you leave her church, she curses you." Others likened her behavior to that of a cult leader, with control mechanisms like love bombing, isolation, and fear-based teachings allegedly being used to maintain obedience. Mary's response: denial and defiance. Throughout the mounting speculation, Mary Cosby remained characteristically enigmatic. On the show, she defended herself with vague spiritual justifications, sometimes calling herself misunderstood, other times brushing off criticism as persecution. She has denied all allegations of cult behavior and financial impropriety, stating in multiple interviews that the accusations stem from disgruntled former members or jealousy from others who don't understand the calling. In a Season 2 confessional, she declared, "They say I'm God? I've never said that. They twisted it. I worship the God in me. That's not the same thing." This kind of spiritual ambiguity only furthered suspicions. Was she deflecting or simply communicating in her own mystic vernacular? Bravo's balancing act. The RHOSLC producers leaned into the controversy just enough to maintain intrigue without outright vilifying Mary. Castmates like Lisa Barlow and Whitney Rose often tiptoed around the issue, unsure whether to confront Mary or distance themselves. When Jen Shah, another embattled cast member, began accusing Mary of running a cult, it ignited one of the most explosive story arcs in the show's short history. But the Bravo cameras never entered the church itself, only its outer facade, leaving viewers to rely on testimonies, church website screenshots, and social media accounts to piece together the truth. It was this distance that preserved a fog of mystery, and perhaps legal safety for the network. Eventually, Mary didn't show up to the Season 2 reunion, citing feelings of being ambushed and misunderstood. Her absence only fueled speculation and sealed her status as one of the most polarizing figures in the franchise. The fine line between faith and control. What complicates the Mary Cosby scandal is its intersection between religion, race, power, and wealth. Black female pastors are rare in Pentecostal megachurch spaces, and Mary stands as a unique figure whose story doesn't cleanly fit into existing tropes. While some see her as a spiritually driven woman upholding her grandmother's legacy, others interpret her as a charismatic manipulator cloaking greed in gospel. Religious institutions, particularly charismatic Christian movements, often revolve around a central personality. The line between spiritual leadership and authoritarian control can be blurry. When a leader claims divine authority, disobedience becomes spiritually risky. This dynamic is not exclusive to Mary's church, but it's what fuels the cult conversation. Yet cult is a loaded word, often thrown around to describe unorthodox religious movements without clear criteria. To some, Mary is just a quirky preacher with a flair for drama. To others, she's a dangerous narcissist exploiting the faithful. The truth, as with many Real Housewives scandals, likely lives somewhere in the murky middle. Where things stand now, Mary Cosby returned to RHOSLC in a recurring role after skipping Season 3, bringing her distinctive commentary and layered mystique back to the screen. However, public scrutiny of her church remains. There have been no legal charges filed against her in relation to the cult allegations as of this writing, and she has not been formally investigated for misuse of church funds. Still, the whispers continue, especially online. Her limited social media presence and refusal to directly address the claims in detail leave much to interpretation, and that's exactly where scandal thrives. Conclusion: divine or deceptive? Mary Cosby remains an enigma, wrapped in a Chanel cape and shielded by scripture. Her presence on RHOSLC transformed a regional franchise into a national talking point on religion, power, and reality TV ethics. Whether she's a misunderstood spiritual leader or a cult figure hiding in plain sight depends on who you ask. What's clear is that Mary's story, and the controversy surrounding it, has forever altered the trajectory of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. The line between reality TV and real-life consequences grows thinner each season, and in Mary Cosby's case, the drama transcends Bravo's glittering snow globe into something far more profound and far more unsettling.